so that your daughter can get an abortion. You should also then have enough time and energy to teach your daughter the right way to carry herself and go about things so that she doesn't need an abortion.
That's facts.
Yet after the election, a lady was on Instagram like, oh, I don't want to go to sleep because I'm gonna wake up a slave. Like, I saw a whole bunch of just ridiculousness. First off, Project 2025 has nothing to do with Donald Trump or his administration. He has denounced Project 2025. He has told the American public time and time again that that is not his agenda. His agenda was available on his website from day one. There were 25, points and plans of action for what he would do as president. And Project 2025 was not listed on there, not linked on there. It was never us.
So if you guys don't know, I'm watching an interview. This is my second part for this interview. I did the first part a few weeks ago on whether or not Donald Trump would be a good, whether Donald Trump would be good for the black community. This is extremely interesting for me because I am a current, obviously black college student, and I want to know the different perspective of older people of my generation, of my race, who say whether or not Donald Trump would be good for us or not. So I'm not going to waste any more time. Let's get into it.
And unfortunately, the Democratic Party did a really good job at misinforming the public and pushing Project 2025 because it was put up or published by a conservative organization. The Heritage Foundation has been around since forever. All right. The original Project 2025 came out like 20 years ago. So it's not like this was a new thing. It's not like these were just super ultra conservative things and people just wanted to end the world one day, or they just thought Donald Trump would be the guy to do it. These people have been pushing for these principles, and it's a manifesto is a manifesto. And what we don't talk about is the fact that every large, either super liberal or super conservative group will produce a manifesto. It's basically them coming to the candidate saying, I have all of these votes and I have all of this money and we're willing to back you, but this is what we would like to see from you. This is what we stand for. The NAACP did the same thing with Joe Biden, and we saw nothing from their manifesto. So to think that the Heritage Foundation was going to approach Trump and we were going to see everything from their manifesto was just ridiculous. Now, moving forward in regards to why people didn't trust her, the democratic process was skipped. And so it seemed like the Democratic Party was doing a lot of deflecting. We're going to blame Trump for everything that we're doing. Skipping over a primary is the most disrespectful, just showcase of we're getting rid of a democracy that I can think of. Because
I think that's a fair point. During this previous election, one thing that happened that really never happens is people skipping over the primary race for Kamala Harris, which 100% happened. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because I think something like that could have only happened with Kamala Harris. And I'm not trying to point out her race or even her gender and why it happened. I think it just had more to do with people's hatred for the conservative party. I feel like if Trump tried to skip over a primary election, people would have been calling him out, saying, oh, you can't do this. Or even if someone else like Vivek or JD Vance tried to skip over a primary election, people were saying, oh, you can't do that. That goes against our rights to vote. But it was a little fishy how it happened. I would say this, the fact that President Biden dropped out of the race so late could have aided that, but I don't know.
80% is coercion. And so it's not because a woman got pregnant and was like, I don't want no baby, I'm not ready to be a mom. It's she was sitting there and dealing with the complex emotions that come with being pregnant. And in doing so, she had all this outside influence. The father, maybe her family members, maybe her friends telling her that having a baby is not a good look for her. Now, unfortunately, you see these other races aren't telling their women that. If a young Mexican girl gets pregnant, while the family won't celebrate her being irresponsible, they will not let that baby go without. They will come together as a village. The same thing with an Asian. The same thing with white people. Whether or not the family is happy with her decision, they will still come together to make sure that that baby has whatever that it needs. The village, the community will come back. Only with black people do we not do that. Grandma don't grandma no more. Grandma in the club with you. You feel me? Auntie don't auntie no more because auntie trying to find her man because she spent her youth raising kids too. Mamas ain't grandma no more like they used to because mom is young or mom is impacted by all these different societal effects. So when it comes to abortion and access to abortion, when you look at all these people who are screaming, we need abortion, why? Why? Because if I just told you that abortion is only necessary in 1% of cases, why do you need abortion so bad? Why was abortion an issue that should have driven me to the polls?
And I love the fact that she's bringing this up. Reasoning for her bringing this up is because when Kamala Harris and Donald Trump were running, remember the topic of this video is Donald Trump good for the black community. A big stance of Kamala Harris was the issue of abortion. She was practically saying that if she became president, she will bring abortion back. That's where she was coming from. I'm not going to critique it. I'm not going to give my opinion on that. That's what she was saying. However, she's saying right now, why does the black community relate so much with this specific issue? I think that's a fair stance. I think that's a fair point to critique. You think that this is more important than what Trump is saying? Let's
Let's
see.
talk about you screaming about abortion screams, I want to be irresponsible. Because now, as we saw in the wake of the election results, you saw women saying, oh, we need to stop having sex with men. Oh, we need to stop dating men. Or, oh, we need to do this. What's wrong with filtering out the men that are in your life? So for me, hold on, baby, you got to sit down. Sorry, y'all. Maya, you got to go sit down. I see your cartoons. You got to go sit down. So,
We keeping that in there too.
really like, the,
I guess.
so it's like, what was I about to say?
I would say this because you're mentioning numbers, and I would need to go check back those and in reference to why abortion. Because there is an influx of incest, there is an influx of rape, there is several things that may happen that may cause it. Even though the lady that was the example for Kamala, who died because that wasn't an option.
She got an abortion. No, she didn't die because she couldn't get an abortion. She died from the side effects from taking the abortion pill, which you're not telling.
But she was unable to go and do what she needed to do in her.
That was medical negligence that had nothing to do with the abortion laws in place. Because here's one thing. She was able to obtain the abortion pill. That lets you know that the abortion laws in our state did not affect her ability to choose, right? Then from taking said abortion pill, the fetus did not expel fully. She went into sepsis. At that point, sepsis is life or death. Your doctor signed any doctor working in a hospital signed an oath to save the life of whoever came before them. Therefore, when she was dying in front of those doctors, it was on them to make sure that she lived.
But she had to leave her state to go to.
They chose not to. No, that's on the doctors. And she, instead of letting Kamala Harris use her as a political pundit, she should have went ahead and called a big-time lawyer to sue the hospital and the doctors who refused to give her the life-saving treatment that she needed. That was not Trump's fault, and it had nothing to do with an abortion ban.
But then she had to leave and go to another state.
No, she didn't have to. That's what she chose.
It's Australia. I live a bigger ball down here on the Chargers thing.
Well, she didn't get to tell her point, though. So the last thing I said was, if women are now feeling like they shouldn't be having so much sex and they have to filter out the type of men they're spending time with, what's wrong with that?
I was responding to, we have all the kids having sex and having babies, and I wanted to talk about how a lot of sex education has been taken out of the school. So there's no education that's being provided as from I'm old school that I had in my day, where it gave you that housing to know this is what you need to be careful for. This is what they took that completely out. Now it's like you have to fill out a consent form in order for your kid to be able to partake in understanding what sex education is, because we have a lack of that. That's where it starts, where those kids are in unhealthy relationships, on unhealthy social medias, and things of that sort, which is causing some of these rates to go high. We were at a school and there was kids in there with fathers, maybe 16, 17, with newborns. However, the school has now a daycare. So the thing about it is that it's just there's lack of knowledge. And when we say lack of knowledge, there's lack of knowledge because that was something that was taken out of school that I feel we should still have in. It will speak to the transgender piece. It'll have all of those, because we can't separate those kids out because there's something that's happening there. But do we have them go back to school at home? Because some of those parents can't afford to homeschool their kids. So we have to have some type of option or something that we are sorting out. If this kid is this kid is that, how do we fix that? And that's what I'm more concerned about in the educational space too. But also with the abortion piece, we lack sex education in schools.
But as adults, I think that we all know that sex makes babies. So with the children and the teen pregnancy thing, I agree. We need more education, because when I was taking sex ed, I'm pretty young, y'all. I'm only 28. So this was like 2010, 2011, and they weren't allowed to show you condoms or bananas anymore.
Right.
And so it's like now you can tell kids to have safe sex, but like A young boy shouldn't learn how to put on a condom right before he's about to have sex, because that's how condoms break, that's how condoms come off, that's how condoms snap, all of those things. So it's like, I wholeheartedly agree that the education piece for our youth can be better. But in regards to these women, and it was women aged 35 to 65 who voted the most. And those women, black women, 80% of us voted for Kamala. And so a lot of them said women's rights, women's rights, women's rights. And so when I saw like women saying like, I have a daughter, I want her to be able to choose. I'm like, why would your daughter ever be in a situation where she would need an abortion? Like, if you're able to be an activist so that your daughter can get an abortion, you should also then have enough time and energy to teach your daughter the right way to carry herself and go about things so that she doesn't need an abortion.
That's facts. That's facts, and I don't want to focus specifically on abortion. I don't. I don't even like to get too deep into that topic, but I want to speak generally. People blame Donald Trump and they blame the conservative party for things that the black community can control at home. And one example of this is when they were talking about sex education not being taught at schools, and that this was a cause on why there are so many young single black mothers. No. Let me ask y'all a question for the ones watching this video. How many of you, if you have any kids or if you have any nieces or nephews, depended on a school system to teach your kids the most important life lessons? That is stupid. Nobody expects a school system to teach their kids the most important life lessons. For example, sex education. I'm not saying it's not taught in schools, but usually the very important lessons are taught by your parents. That's the problem. In the black community, there isn't a schooling issue, or there isn't a Democrat or conservative, which one is better for us issue. A lot of these things are caused because we aren't doing what we're supposed to do at home. We don't have that many two-parent households, or a father telling their son to wear protection, or a father telling their daughter not to just have wild intercourse with a million young men, or even a mother telling their daughter or a mother telling their son. This stuff starts at home. It doesn't start in the school system. Of course, there are good parents out there who do tell their kids that, and they see their kids listen to them. But a lot of these issues aren't because of Donald Trump or because of the conservative party, and they will not be fixed by the Democratic Party, or they won't even be fixed by the conservative party. Conservative values probably will fix it, but at the end of the day, these issues are ingrained into the community. They need to be fixed at home. This is not a schooling thing. But let's continue.
Again, like, sex education should still be taught in schools, but it's still the responsibility of the parent, because it's also on the parent to be strict enough to not have their kid outside in the streets all the time so that they can get pregnant. I never had boys over. I was never allowed to go anywhere. So I made it out through high school, no pregnancies, barely had sex. So it's like, for me, abortion can't shouldn't be something that we celebrate in the black community. It shouldn't be something that we propose in the black community. It shouldn't be something that we are just going so hell bent for it in the black community, because while we're doing so, we're also forgetting the 1/3 of black women who can't conceive, whether it be due to endometriosis, PCOS, uterine fibroids, genetics, all of those things. If there's billions of dollars being allocated to make sure that women can get an abortion for free, why aren't there billions of dollars also allocated to researching these health concerns and helping women who do want to become mothers become mothers? When we're talking about women's health and reproductive health care, it should not only be synonymous with abortion, because not every woman wants an abortion. And then, to not leave y'all out, there's a lot of men who I know at my age, their early 30s, if they don't have kids, it's usually because a woman got pregnant, decided she didn't want to have the baby, also didn't ask him his input, and went ahead and had an abortion. And so we don't talk enough about that either. Again, 80% of them is because a woman was coerced. One of the main things people told me when I was about to have my baby is, I'll never get a man, because no man wants a used up single mom. I don't know, girl. I had no problem. That's what, but think about it. When you're young, that's enough to scare you into going ahead and get an abortion. When you're young, that's enough to make you feel like, okay, I could just do it again. We should never see life as something that can just be discarded and we can just go do it again.
Yeah.
That in itself, internalizing those kind of emotions is why we see people fighting all the time, damn near to the death, shooting each other, and we're desensitized to it. We don't tie it back to abortion, but abortion that's a death. Because if a woman has a miscarriage, we allow her to grieve. But if she has an abortion, we're acting like she doesn't have to. That's a lot. So yeah, it's a very slippery slope. So it's like when it comes to grown women, I think that abortion, of course, is a decision that everybody makes on their own. And as single mothers, we can tell people this is not easy. It is not for everybody. So I can't sit here and tell you that I don't understand why some people don't sign up for this. What I will tell you is I'm not affected, nor do I feel offended or like my rights have been imposed on, because the government said that it's not going to be so easy to just get rid of this one and do it again. I think that along with education about sex, when we talk about your alternatives, abortion, adoption, whatever, we need to tell women like the young lady Amber who died here, sepsis is a common side effect from the pill. And when you decide to get a D&E, a lot of women don't talk about the infertility rates that stem from that or the direct link to breast cancer that comes from that.
She's extremely educated in this. Educated in this. And I wish more people listen to her about this, because I feel like sometimes we vote based off of things that we think are right rather than our real facts. And she's bringing up real facts regarding this issue.
And sometimes we lose sight of perspective. So it's so many things that are taking place, and I wish that people would just understand that. And that's why it is important. For one, I'm glad we're able to have this conversation.
Yeah.
And I want to salute y'all. And I've been watching, and just because I want to listen, I want to learn, but I'm also watching a dynamic that breaks our community up. That's why this panel and this discussion is so important, because I watched, I ain't going to say her name, but she went, to your point, she's very well known. She's married to a football player and a former football player. And she was like, if you voted for this particular individual, you're not my friend, you're not my family, don't call me. Like, you just disowned everybody because of a choice.
Yeah.
Which is also the reason why I feel like people won't vote properly.
Yeah.
No matter if it's Trump, Biden, Kamala, whoever, they won't vote properly because you don't want to be shunned out of your community. So we don't.
A lot of people stay home.
But they're also a bigger part of the problem.
Yeah.
But because the thing that I hate, barbershop talk.
Yeah. I want to know much.
Choose which one is your poison. What does that mean? You know what I'm saying? Like the great the evils, which I feel is very destructive, it's divisive, and it's disappointing.
Yeah.
For me, you know what I'm saying? And I hope that based on this dialogue, we can advance and move further to try to look at policy for what it is, how it actually aligns, what serves your beliefs, your family, your structure, your community. All of these things that are extremely important that we don't necessarily dive into, because guess what? I'm a smart politician. I'm going to play off your emotions. Mm-hmm. I'm a smart politician. I know what's going to set you off. I'm a smart politician. I know how I'm going to get to you, Ash. Yeah. I'm going to touch you here. I'm going to do whatever. And we spend so much time in emotion going back and forth that we don't necessarily get to the root. And I'm just glad, I want to salute everybody in this space right now, because it's not an easy thing to do.
Sure.
And to still be able to look at that person with love and honor and dignity, but not going there based on your beliefs or anything else. Because I know for me, I wouldn't be able to have friends. I wouldn't be able to have, a lot of relationships that I have based on my beliefs. And I'm not talking religion. I'm not talking politics. I'm talking about morals, value, and principles.
See, that's the rhetoric that I'm hearing. Like, people who are online saying that they can't be friends with somebody who voted for Trump is because of that. They're saying because of, he's a racist, he's a fascist, he's a sexist, and all of these he's a convicted felon and all this other stuff.
What about how racist we are?
Right.
Yeah.
You ever thought about?
But I just feel like black people acted so disgusted at folks who voted for Trump, but they still let the molested uncle eat at Thanksgiving dinner.
Right.
I just feel like y'all are so mad at Trump, but y'all auntie who sleep with everybody's husband is still open arms at the cookout.
That is extremely true. There's a lot of hypocritical stances when it comes to Donald Trump. Here's my problem with this. I think people sometimes forget that being a politician is a job. Being a president is a job. We get very enthralled in who we like the most, who we think is the better person. At the end of the day, we don't know these people. We don't really know them like we know our family members. So trying to say that one is morally superior, yeah, you can kind of argue it based off of things that they've done. But it just, we have to get back to the point where we're voting for the best person to do this job. We want the best person to do the job. That's a big reason why people have a problem with DEI. They say, oh, you're not looking at the best candidate. It's the same thing with a president. We should be looking at the best person, point blank, period. When people say, oh, you vote for them, I'm not your friend no more, you're a little delusional. They voted for who they thought was the best. It's really that simple.
But see, and look, like, I'll just tell you the truth. Number one, when Biden ran, I didn't vote for either. I didn't vote for Trump or Biden, right? I voted everything else, but I didn't vote for Trump or Biden. You know why? Because Biden has affected my life directly. That 94 crime bill affected me directly. The one that he's proud of, the one that he never apologized for, the one that that took our mass incarceration from 200,000 to 2 million, right? And I understand the reasons behind it and all that stuff, but this is why we go to the jails. This is why we right now. This is why we advocate for financial literacy when our brothers and sisters come home. And so I couldn't, in good conscience, vote for Joe Biden. So I didn't vote for Joe Biden or Donald Trump when they ran, right? And so at the end of the day, let's keep that 100. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, like, we got to understand, all right, why are we doing what we're doing? What, and can you earn our votes?
Yeah.
And I also, again, from the identity politics perspective, I'm saying we have 4 years to get our stuff together, right? And what I mean by that is, let's force politicians, right? Vote. What do they say? Don't vote your party, vote your interests, right? Let's force politicians to make sure they understand our power, right? Because what I didn't like was the fact that because Kamala, they were pushing Kamala as a black woman, they were pushing her as a HBCU grad, they were pushing all of these things that they were, the Megan, because she has Megan Thee Stallion and Glow. I don't listen to none of that. So you wasn't trying to get that you wasn't doing that for me. And
They kind of were. They thought that black people would vote based off of that. That we don't really have any real political concerns. We're going to vote for you because we like you. You went to the same school as us. You have a rapper that we listen to. Just stupid things. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below about this video. Shout out to Inside the Vault for having something like this. My name is LFR Jojo, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.